Alright, so I'm going to talk here about something that's kind of annoyed me throughout the years of paying attention to wrestling. Wrestlers have a tendency to have their heights keep on bobbing around certain locations. Take, for example, one of the most common weirdnesses is the people who their heights seem to range between 6 foot and 6'2", and they keep on bobbing up and down between those points. There's plenty of wrestlers that have that problem. Rob Van Dam, Shawn Michaels, and Bret Hart, for example, they seem to keep on bobbing around those heights and never seem to stand still. I mean, I always thought that they were 6'2", but then they all of a sudden are 6'1", then 6 foot, then 6'1" again. It's weird. Other wrestlers that seem to have this kind of an issue is, of course, the Big Show. He seemed to have shrunk throughout the years that he's been in there. He originated at 7'4", and then all of a sudden 7'2", and now he's 7 foot. So did he just shrunk about 4 inches since he's been around or something? I don't understand that at all. I guess I've always called him 7'2" because it's in the middle, but you never know exactly what his height is. I mean, is he taller than the Great Khali or shorter? Well, no one can find out anymore because he doesn't wrestle anymore. Gah. Some wrestlers, though, have always stayed in this proper zone of height. Take, for example, everyone knows the height of The Rock and The Undertaker. They've always been at the same height. The Rock is 6'5", and The Undertaker is 6'10.5". Everyone knows him for that. But the Big Show has a signature height, 7 feet, 500 pounds. But that doesn't make any sense, is that he keeps on bobbing around. What the hell is his actual height? Alright, so another person that seems to kind of bob around a bit would be Hulk Hogan. Is he 6'7" or 6'8"? Another issue can arise when the wrestler's build height is different than their actual height. Take, for example, the Giant Gonzalez. He was labeled as 8 foot, but he's not actually 8 foot. Instead, he's about 7 foot 7 or 8 or something. Another example of giants that keep on being labeled have taller rates than they are. Take the Odyssey. The Odyssey has 2 giants. One of them, don't really remember his name. His name started with a K. He was labeled as 7'1". But yet, according to some information, he's actually 6'10", not 7 foot. Another wrestler that seems to build a different height than they actually are is other people like Test. I've heard that he's 7 foot, and I've also heard that he's around 6'10" or something. That doesn't make any sense. Why the hell would they change him around like that? Another one would be, of course, Mabel / Viscera / Big Daddy V. If you ever looked at No Mercy, his height right there was put at 6'6", and then all of a sudden his height is 6'9". Did he really grow that much between No Mercy and SmackDown vs. Raw 2007? Well, I'm gonna finish this rant off with Kane. Kane seems to have grown a lot, also, like Big Daddy V. He started out at 6'9". Around, the time. Even his character that was him before then was 6'9". And then all of a sudden, somewhere around this, it was probably around 2000 or 1999, he all of a sudden became 7 foot. So he was originally smaller than The Undertaker, and now he's taller. Now, it kind of makes sense that he would be 7 foot because he's around the same height as the Big Show, or at least according to some images. Which, like I explained earlier, that could mean anything. But he's also around the same height as The Undertaker. That doesn't make any sense. Is that really that big of a difference? Sometimes I've seen him referred to as still 6'9" by the announcers on SmackDown a couple of times. Of course, they could have been making a mistake, I don't know. But he's commonly referred to as 7 foot in every way you can read him. I know that he was labeled as 6'9". Was because of the older footage and the game Warzone labeled him as 6'9". Yet every other game has labeled him as 7 foot. So that's all I really have to say about this situation. There's probably other wrestlers I'm forgetting about, but I can't fit them all into one video, and I can't remember them all at once. So this is all the ones I can mention at the moment. So this is my thoughts for wrestling heights. This is VeoRaptor, and goodbye.